Hello, I'm Blue. Recently, I made a PNGTuber model to make my videos a little bit easier to make and also to make the still frames look a little bit more entertaining as to give it more life. So after conducting some research, I found something that would meet my needs, which was easy to move, no need to learn live 2D, which seems very complicated. I discovered a program called PNGTuber Remix. It's a free program and allows you to rig your PNGTuber model to follow your mouse cursor. It really brings your character to life, especially if you don't want to use face tracking like I did. So here's how I did it. But before we jump in, I've got something cool to share with you. This video is brought to you by Mondly, a language learning app. And right now they're running a summer sale just for our community. You get 65% off a lifetime access to 41 languages when you sign up using my link. That means you pay once and get access forever. No monthly fees, no subscription, just one payment and boom, a lifetime access. So if you've never heard of Mondly, it's a super easy to use app that helps you learn languages in a way that actually makes sense. You don't just memorize words, you actually speak, listen and practice in real conversations. They even have a chatbot with voice recognition, so you can practice speaking out loud and it gives you feedback, which is great if you're shy about talking out loud in another language. One thing I love is you can learn on the go. There's a hand-free mode that lets you practice while you're doing stuff like cooking, working out, or the dishes, which is great if you like to keep your hands busy while you learn something. There are also little daily lessons and quizzes, so it keeps you consistent without being overwhelming. So, if you've been planning to start a new language or maybe brush up before a trip, now's the perfect time. Go to mondly.app/bluebiscuits to grab 65% off of a lifetime deal before it's gone. A big thank you to Mondly for sponsoring this video and for making language learning actually doable. And now onto the video. Step 1, you have to pick your character. I chose this OC, who belongs to one of my subscribers, who was the winner of one of my raffles in the last video. I will show you the 3 models that won at the end of the video. So before you can begin drawing or cutting out, it's helpful to understand how PNGTuber Remix works. Your character can bounce, drag, rotate, squish, and follow your mouse in all directions. Knowing this will help you figure out which part of your art you want to cut up and which parts you want to have move on your character. To make this easier, I drew over the art of the parts that I want to move, so I have an idea of what I want to cut out. For example, I wanted the hair to bounce slightly on top of the head, so I made sure to cut out this section. After finishing the art, like painting it and such, I cut it into parts and cleaned up these parts. The parts that I cut up are as follows: head, hair, mouths, open and closed, eyes as follows, white, pupils and eyelids. The solid sections of the eyelid is super important, so the pupils are not visible as they move around. You have to have your eyes closed, eyebrows, nose, neck, accessories like glasses or beads, and different expressions if you need them. For body parts, it's torso, it's upper arms, lower arms, hands, clothes, tails, ears, etc., and different poses if you need, as well as different outfits. Basically, keep in mind, anything you want to have move should be on a separate layer. Save each part as a separate PNG file with proper names like head PNG, mouth PNG, left arm PNG, etc. Make sure you save them in their own folder so it's easier to find later on. Next step is to download PNGTuber Remix. You can download this program for free on its official website. You can also choose to donate if you want to. Once you've installed and opened the software, it will look something like this. Let me walk you through the interface. The top bar, we have File, Mode, Background Color, Bounce, Settings, and etc. Then we have the Layers and Layer Settings. We have the Navigator and Image Animations, Sprite Settings, for movements, wiggles, and image settings, and then there are states. I will show you how to use all these settings as I go through the program and the process. Next, you'll have to import your files. Go to Files, press New to start a new project. Then click the plus icon under Layers and import all your images from the folder we created earlier. Rearrange the layers in the correct Z order, which you can find in the properties up here. The Z order is basically like layers. This controls what appears on the top, as the layers don't work like traditional layers in an art program. Higher numbers appear above lower numbers. Multiple images can also share the same number value. Go in and adjust all the parts to the correct order so they appear like you imagined them. Next step is anchor points. Every image or part has an anchor point. It's this small dot in the middle. You can hold Ctrl and click to move the anchor point around. So the anchor point is basically where the image will rotate around. For example, I will place the anchor point for the head at the base of the neck rather than in the middle of the image. So when it rotates, it kind of spins around this axis. I will do this to all the joints as well, so you can kind of think of the anchor point as the joint. You can also move, rotate, resize, and recolor images up here in Properties. Do note that in PNGTuber Remix there is no undo button, so Ctrl-Z does not work. So be extra careful because you cannot do a move forward, though you can go back and change it to its original properties by manually typing them in. Next step is parenting layers. Parenting is how you connect parts so they move together. It means one layer, the child, follows the movement of another layer, so the parent. To parent layers, drag one layer into another and then they will be parented. You can see that they're parented when they look something like this. So here is how I parented them. I did the head and then the body. For the head, I parented the eyes, hair, face, accessories, all to the face PNG here. And then for the body, I parented everything to the torso. So the arms, the legs, the neck, everything that would go around the torso. And then I parent the head to the torso. Now that everything is linked together, whatever happens to the parent layer will also affect the children. So if I have the body bounce, everything that is connected to it, so that includes the head and all the limbs, will move in this direction. But if I only select the head layer, only the things connected to it will move, so the body will stay still. And then we'll do blinking and talking. In the Property tab up here, you'll find the two settings for blink and for talk. To set this up, go into the layers and find the open eyes, closed eyes, mouth open or mouth closed, and then set them accordingly. So click the layer and then set them up here. So for eyes open, you'll set them to eyes open, and eyes closed, etc, etc. Now your model will automatically blink and talk when you talk. You can go to MISC to edit how the model reacts to these inputs, like bounce on talk or squish on blink, and how frequently you want them to blink, etc. There is also part settings. You can toggle features like ignore bounce, keep the part still during bouncing, physics to give it a more natural movement, or toggle assets for things like glasses or props that appear or disappear. For example, I use the toggle feature for juggling balls to appear when she juggles and disappears when she's no longer juggling by simply pressing a shortcut on the keyboard. Next, we'll be adding movement. This is the fun part. The top movement area is for automatic movements, which means it will move on its own, and the bottom area is for mouse tracking, so it will follow your mouse wherever it goes. X and Y is left, right, up and down. Rotate is rotation. Drag means it will follow with a slight delay depending on how much you put it on. And stretch gives you this bouncy look when it moves, which is also super fun to work with. For the automatic movements, you use amplitude and frequency to bounce parts depending on how fast or how much you want them to move on the Y and X axis. Or you can have the parts rotate automatically, so if you have something that you want to animate in this way, you can. So for example, I added an automatic movement property on the X axis on the torso, so she does like a slight bounce on her own. I also wanted her arms to rotate with her as she bounces, so I added a rotation to each joint and a small stretch. But for the rotation, I did not add it as like an automatic rotation, it's just a rotation that it can turn around. So her arms will rotate according to how much she bounces. So now she has a small animation that plays automatically. I thought her head and her hair looked a bit flat and could use some stretch and maybe some bounce, so I clicked on the head layer, I added some stretch, and then I clicked on the hair layer and added some stretch there too. Then I just go to every part and I kind of play with the settings, so I move them along. I also thought that the little balls on the hat would react to the movement, so I added rotation, making sure that the anchor point is correctly placed, and a bit of stretch so they move smoothly with everything. So now you can get to the mouse tracking, which I think is also super fun. You have the X and Y axis movements, so left, right, up and down, that will make your character follow your mouse. And then you have squish for dynamic and perspective feels. I don't like squish the most because I feel like it's a bit awkward sometimes, so I normally try and stay out of it. So for the head, I selected the parented layer, which is this face layer, and I added X and Y mouse tracking so it follows my mouse. I do the same with the torso, but just a little bit less so it doesn't follow as aggressively as the head. So I go in and tweak each separate part, adjusting drag, stretch, rotation, XY movements, until it feels like it's something right. Next step we'll rig is the eyes and the pupils. Make sure that the eyelid layer has an extra color so the pupil doesn't peek out when it moves around. The layers should be in this order: eyelids, pupils, and then the whites of the eyes. So the pupils get the Y and X tracking for the mouse movements. This will have like a really strong X and Y tracking so that the pupils follow the mouse more aggressively. I also add a bit of stretch so they react slightly as the mouse moves. The eyelids will also have a bit of a mouse movement, so X and Y, and I will also add a little bit of a bounce, but I'll do this like way less than I did with the pupils, so the eyelids like follow with the mouse, but not too aggressively, and then I add squish to both of them. Next I'll show you how to add a tail or a wagging item. So if you want like a tail that wags or goes back and forth, kind of like my PNGTuber, this is how you do it. You go up to File and then you select Add Appendage. It will load in like this. Make sure that your like tail has been drawn left to right, because this is how the program will load it in. As you can see, if I grab the square here and I move it around, it will follow like a tail. In Wiggle, you'll find the physics that you'll need to edit for the tail, so length, curvature, wag, speed. I don't 100% know how this works. I kind of just play around until it feels right. And to have it like automatically move with my mouse, I just go to the mouse settings and I have it go left to right as my mouse moves, and that will automatically move the tail. And then we have states. This is for different poses or emotions. So you can create a new state and toggle it on or off for different expressions or outfits or poses. Changes in one state won't apply to the others, so be careful. So if you like have one character bounce and you decide to take that off in the next state, you have to go back and change them up. I have 28 states for this model that I have here, and it's a pain because if I want to change one thing, I have to change it on all 28 states, which takes a long time. You can also map the states to the keyboard for shortcuts in the settings. So up here, if you go to settings and then map states, you can select each state to which key. So that's how I did it. Every one of my states is mapped to one of the keys on my keyboard. So I just press them and they will change. Then we have settings, which is pretty important, but fairly self-explanatory. You can go through them and just look around. So we have the screen, which your PNGTuber will follow. You have audio and mic settings, when and how the model will react, the delay, like how loud the microphone you're using. You have the toggle keys for expressions, which is the states I talked about, and then the rest are just kind of self-explanatory. And that's about it. So you go up here to mode and select PNGTuber, and there is your model. These are super fun to make and pretty easy and fast. Like I think these take me like 40 minutes to an hour to rig. There's a lot more I could show you, like exporting the PNGTuber without a background in a video format, or making the model react to a recorded voice instead of like your microphone, or recording the model for videos in higher quality, or streaming it with OBS. But I'll save this for another video because like I don't think that relates to what I'm doing right now. So let me know if you would like to see that. Yeah, so I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped. I want to say thank you again to everybody that submitted fan art, and for my Patreons and channel members, which are the people on the screen now. I hope this tutorial helped, and I hope to see a lot more PNGTubers out there now. Because like I feel like this is like a lot easier to do than live 2D, because like, I don't know, it's really hard. I really don't know what to say at the end of this video. All I can say is like, I was gone for 3 weeks. Which is like horrible. I did not even realize so much time had gone by, but I did fix a bunch of things. So I fixed up my PNGTuber for streaming. I fixed up my like streaming setup, so now I will be able to stream properly, like more professionally, I guess. So I'm really excited for that, and I also have a streaming schedule now, which is like cool. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Mondly for sponsoring this video. If you're interested, check them out. Yeah, so I will see you in the next one. Bye!